Trauma has a frequency. How about that? Trauma has a frequency. Okay, let's dive into this. Trauma isn't just stored in the memory, it's stored in frequency. Okay, I'm going to read that again. Trauma is just not in your memory, stored in your memory, it's stored in frequency. When something traumatic happens, your body doesn't just remember it mentally, it imprints it energetically. Wow. What does that mean? Imprints it energetically. Well, your nervous system adapts to survive. Your baseline frequency lowers to match the dominant emotional state of that trauma. For example, fear, shame, guilt. You might feel normal, but you're vibrating in survival mode. This is my theory. When we're vibrating in survival mode or more in our ego and the lower frequency emotions like guilt, shame, fear, what happens is our bodies, our cells are vibrating also at that frequency. And the ease goes into dis-ease. So I do believe, and I'm not saying this is the cause of all illnesses. No, don't, please don't. And I'm not saying that you create illnesses. Please don't even go there. What I'm saying is, if you're vibrating at a lower survival mode, lower emotions in frequency, they're not lower as in I'm judging them or we're judging them. They're literally lower in frequency in Hz and Hertz. So think of trauma, because we're talking about trauma, like a tuning fork that keeps humming long after the event is over. You know, boom. You can hear it, but at some point it's going to keep humming and maybe you can't hear it. You can't see it. It's humming, right? It's out there in the field and it's in you, and your cells are just vibrating at that dis-ease hertz frequency. So this hum shows up as chronic anxiety. We've all been there, right? Hypervigilance. Oh, yeah, especially if you're a survivor of abuse. Hypervigilance is crazy. This hum shows up as self-sabotage, or I don't feel safe, even when I am, which is so sad. And I've been there. A lot of us have been there. Not feeling safe in your own skin. After my cancer healing journey, of course, I had PTSD like we all have. The doctors don't tell you about that. I honestly felt like my soul wanted to get out of my body because my soul didn't feel safe in my body anymore. That is a very extreme PTSD. It's called medical PTSD, medical trauma. So, all right, we're going to keep learning more about this, and then we're going to find solutions and tips. Okay. And we're going to also find not just my stories, but your stories. Please definitely let me know of anything that you've been through that resonates with this. Okay. All right. This is so much, you guys. It's like I'm overwhelmed, but in a good way. So the emotional frequency scale. Let's talk about Dr. David Hawkins. Okay. The emotional frequency scale ranks emotions by their vibrational frequency. You definitely want to pay attention to this. The vibrational frequency is measured in hertz, Hz's, right? These numbers are not just metaphors, you guys. They really reflect real energy states that can be measured, okay? So I'm going to read some of them, like the lower vibration and the higher vibration. Again, you can get my guide for $199. I'm going to post it this weekend, and it's going to have all this information, okay, with the stories and the tips and everything else. Okay, so shame, for example, the frequency in hertz is 20, which is very low. And the meaning is collapse, invisibility, and I am bad. Oh, that's so sad, man. Another one is very common, fear. That's 100 hertz, and it means anxiety, survival, distrust. Let's go into the middle of the ground. Courage is 200. That's where the power begins. Oh, yeah. Then you have neutrality, 250 hertz, which is detachment and calm. Love, which is 528 hertz, is coherence, healing, and expansion. And check this out. Joy, which is what my channel is about. This channel is about your journey to joyful living. Joy vibrates at 540 hertz, and it's flow, transcendence, and unity consciousness. Again, this is not good or bad. We're not judging. We're just mapping these emotions, okay, so that you know what you're up against. When you vibrate low, everything is not in order and in harmony. When you vibrate high, everything is in order and harmony. So the low frequencies, what do they mean? They're reactive, they're survival based, they're contracted. The high frequencies are creative, expansive, regenerative. All right. Now, what does trauma do to your vibrational set point? It actually lowers it. So when trauma isn't fully processed, it becomes the default frequency you return to. Absolutely. That's why we got to deal with trauma of any kind, right? And it hurts, and you're going to cry, and you're going to be upset. But if you deal with it and you process it, then remember that tuning fork that still is vibrating even when you're not even paying attention, that's going to stop. You might say you want love, creativity, or abundance, but your energy field is calibrated to shame, fear, or guilt. It's like trying to stream jazz on a radio tuned to static. So, what happens? This creates repeated toxic patterns, self doubt, and imposter syndrome. Oh my God, I hate that one. Physical symptoms. Yes, trauma can lead to chronic illness. Why? Again, that tuning fork is still vibrating. Your cells are also vibrating at that frequency of that tuning fork, and that causes disease because the mitochondria, by the way, which when the mitochondria are not vibrating at the speed they should be vibrating, the frequency they should be vibrating at, that's what actually causes cancer, and they are out of control. So one mitochondria might be like dee, 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 the other one's like ta ta ta, like really chill. This mitochondria is like dee, 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 dee. So the next one, it's like, like when you hang out with people that are I don't know, that curse a lot, for example, you start cursing, same thing. So this was a da, 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 cursing. This one goes da 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 da. So they start, the mitochondria in the cells start vibrating at that frequency, and they are completely out of control, and they're not healthy cells anymore. So the frequency of your trauma can literally even help cancer grow, because I'm not going to say it's the only reason, because cancer is such a complex illness or disease that I'm not going to, but that can aid. Everything can aid, what you eat, what you put on your body, what you put in your body, everything can, your environment, everything can help cancer, that can help the disease. So what is the good news? Yeah, because it's not all trauma and drama, right? You can recalibrate. Your frequency is not fixed. It can be healed, retuned, and elevated. And I'm going to give you some exercises and things that you can do to recalibrate your frequency. And I actually, let me tell you a story. I had an anxiety attack last weekend, which I honestly haven't had an anxiety attack in years. And I was teaching swimming. I had to get out of the pool. I was really like, what is happening to me? The next day I threw up. I was sick. And I was like, okay, this is triggering some trauma that I have. Whatever is happening around me is triggering a trauma. I figured it out what the trauma was and why I was triggered. And then I was like, no, I'm going to take my power back. I'm not going to allow the trauma to change my chemistry and my vibrational field and the vibration of my cells. So I turned that trauma into this is what I can do so I'm not stuck in that trauma. And we can actually go deeper into it. By the way, if you subscribe to my Patreon for $5.99 a month, it's patreon.com/the state of Grace Fraga. You can do, you have a free 30-minute one-on-one with me, which can be a relationship coaching or quantum healing coaching. Okay, either one. So please subscribe to my Patreon. I have tons of comedy content, tons of quantum and relationship content. And I have, I keep putting, mostly it's comedy and it's stuff that's not out there on YouTube or anything. It's not public. So subscribe to patreon.com/the state of Grace Fraga. Everything is the state of Grace Fraga. All right. So here's how you can recalibrate your vibration field or your frequency. Somatic healing. So you release the energy through the body. You can scream it, put a pillow so your neighbors don't complain. You can, personally, the water for me is, it just absorbs my energy, whether I'm in the water or in front of a mass of water. Maybe for you, it's hugging a tree. Maybe for you, it's being in nature. Maybe for you, it's hearing the birds sing. Okay. Um, just release your energy and also be in an environment that relaxes you. Meditation and breath wake. What the hell is that, Grace? Meditation and breath work. Shift into alpha, theta, and delta states. Another thing to recalibrate is loving relationships, co-regulation with higher frequency people. If you're a high frequency person, you will find out that people, when they're in your presence and you're vibrating high, because sometimes you're not vibrating high because you're having, something, but usually higher vibration people vibrate high most of the time. People around you will tell you, wow, I was feeling like shit, and just being around you made me feel better. You didn't do anything. It's just your frequency. It affects them. So imagine how we can change the world if one day, I've been saying this for years, all of us just are in the frequency of love and unity. I'm telling you, I don't know if it's going to happen, or maybe there is in the quantum field a timeline where that's happening. I don't know, but it's powerful. Nature, that's another thing. Like I was telling you before, the forest, the ocean, just picking up the earth's frequency. The earth is a living organism. It's a living being. Okay. And that's not a joke. There's a thing called the Schumann resonance. Okay. And that's the earth's frequency. And right now, because of the situation in this world and in this country, it's going crazy. It's like they've never seen, like it's just going insane. Like it's abnormal. So the earth, Gaia, feels. Yes. And it probably has feelings even. I'm sure she's mad right now. Anyway, another thing you can do is sound healing. I do that a lot. Tuning forks, solfeggio tones. I do that. Binaural beats. Also the bowls, the what is it called? Tibetan or whatever. I can't pronounce it. From Tibet, the bowls. Yeah. Okay. Those are amazing. I love those. By the way, Janae Eiko, who I love, she does a lot of that, and her voice has a vibration that's healing. Um, Another thing you can do is affirmations and intentional thoughts. Yes, thought has a vibration. We already talked about that. Remember the brain waves? Yeah. And especially, not just the thoughts, but emotions, emotional alchemy. This is what I did last weekend. Okay. I turned my fear into clarity, my grief into devotion, and my shame into sovereignty. You're an alchemist. Remember, and I keep saying this, and I'm going to say it until my last breath. We are magical, powerful beings. And that's no joke. They made us believe and programmed us that we're sinners, that we're nothing, that there's a big daddy in the sky that's punishing us. It's bullshit. We are powerful. So powerful, we can create our own reality. We can shift realities with our thoughts and emotions. Think about that. So, this is the quantum truth. Your frequency is your broadcast. Trauma teaches you to whisper, and healing teaches you to sing. And when you raise your vibration, your reality has to rise with it because it has to match you. Here's a personal share that's really interesting. Here, there's no name on this one, okay? This person didn't want to give their name or where they are. When I had cancer, my body vibrated at fear for months. I can relate to that. But the moment I started listening to 528 hertz and breath work, I felt my system reattune. You can feel it. You can feel it. It's incredible. I highly recommend 528, 432 hertz frequencies. They're amazing. Okay, so here for this segment tip number 3, to begin shifting trauma frequency. What you can do, humming, which activates the vagus nerve, which is like over here. I don't know. It's a big nerve that you can regulate. I'm not a biologist or a doctor, but anyway, Google it. Or ask ChatGPT. Another thing that you can shift trauma frequency with is a cold water splash. You know, we see that a lot. Like even in movies, they show you that when somebody's upset, just put cold water on your face. Safe touch, even a hand over your heart. I do that a lot. That just completely regulates me. And talk to a licensed trauma-informed therapist who understands nervous system regulation. That is extremely important, to ask for help. And there are organizations that will do it for you for free.